If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Ill-fated words I will choke.
Happy Fantasy Draft Friday to everybody in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive, live in your face, literally, here on Twitter and YouTube. For Aaron Crouch, the best father I know, well, besides my stepfather, thank you. I am Michael Carvelis, the single, humble man himself. Aaron, how has your week been, sir?
The week has been good. Nothing really of note to report. You know, every day is just kind of running together right now in those dog days of summer.
That's about right. The weather here has been horrible. There's been so many thunderstorms, even after the tornado. So usually you'll get like a cool breeze for a couple days. No, not here.
That's fair.
I didn't know how you guys' weather was doing over there, but who cares? I mean, you can go ahead and tell me.
I was going to say, well, luckily we haven't touched 100 yet, which we should be deep into it by now. So fingers crossed that we stay this way. But I don't see that on the horizon in July and August.
I'll be sure to pollute some more to make sure that happens. I'm kidding. Let's get into the NBA draft reaction. And Aaron, of course, Victor Wembanyama went number 1 to those Spurs. You know, part of me wants to – oh, by the way, Brandon Miller went number 2 to the Hornets. So if Michael Jordan screws up the Hornets just one more time. And then, of course, Scoot Henderson goes number 3 to the – oh, gosh.
Trailblazers.
The Trailblazers, all of a sudden, Damian Lillard they're not going to trade him now, which is ironic. But for me, with Wembanyama, part of my brain is telling me this is just another Kristaps Porzingis. You know, if he stays healthy, great. If he doesn't, you know, they're in trouble. But part of me is like, this is the Spurs, and every last draft pick they touch turns to gold. Like, it's not like these guys just draft and, like, have busts all the time. Like, they've got good players in the lottery the last few years. They had DeJounte Murray. They had Kawhi Leonard in the later rounds. Like, this team knows what they're doing. What is your thoughts on Wembanyama and, of course, the others?
So I've been kind of looking at this Wembanyama situation, and it's really hard to say because you're right. If everything in his body stays intact, he should be an absolute stud. I mean, 7'5" guys traditionally don't pan out, but traditionally they're not as athletic as a guy like this. I mean, this guy's shooting threes, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
The age-old question is, you know, these guys, the bodies break down. You know, you have a very select few, and really it might be Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal and Olajuwon where the bodies didn't break down. But, I mean, even Yao Ming, you know, the body just broke down after a while of just years of intensity on it. I don't want it to fail, but I feel like he is going to be a short-lived commodity in the NBA. Now, let's hope he's not injured from the jump like Chet Holmgren, you know, and like that. And like you said, you know, building a team around this guy is going to be priority number 1 to be an impact player immediately. Because, I mean, like, let's say you get 6 good years out of him. I mean, okay, you know, but you need to – it's not he's going to be great for 6 years while we all stand around and collect first-round picks because we're the 11th seed every year. You know, I think the Spurs have to react now. If you're going to draft a guy like Wembanyama and not take one of these other 2 guys who are obviously not as tall, but maybe a little bit more athletic or maybe just as athletic, you've got to figure out how to win now. And, you know, if that means bringing in free agents, making trades, whatever you need to do to build around this guy, because I feel like the bar on this guy might be really short-lived. So, you know, get to competition now, build around him now, win now for the Spurs. And Pop's getting old too, so he probably wants to do that as well.
Yeah, no, he is old as dirt, it feels like. If you are the Spurs, Aaron, let's just say Wembanyama stays healthy. How good do you expect him to be? I mean, I haven't watched much. I've seen the highlights. I've seen some games. Like, I've watched a game or two, like here, like a quarter or two, should I say. but I don't feel like this guy is how they're hyping him. And that's what's concerning to me. That's why part of my brain is saying, well, especially with the health issue, but let's just say he's healthy. Is this the guy? Like, you were saying, well, Giannis was skinny and KD was skinny. I don't see this guy like that. I see him as some stretch four who can dribble, and usually that, especially when you're skinny and 7 feet, ask Porzingis how his knees feel. Even though Boston loves his knees, apparently. I don't.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the question is like, the old question is how's he going to hold up? But if you're looking at this draft, I mean, as far as, and, you could probably attest to this better than me, these generational type talents aren't just, plentiful in all these drafts. Now, I look at a draft like this, obviously the college basketball, season didn't produce a lot of bona fide NBA superstars, in my opinion.
Drew Timme went undrafted, which was criminal, but yeah.
Well, that's true. He might be able to jump on for somebody, but my point is that it feels like all the drafts in recent memory are just drafting potentials. Like, you can go draft a Brandon Miller, a Scoot Henderson, a Wembanyama. If they don't pan out, you're just like, well, we tried,
Yeah.
So
ask the Knicks, ask the Lakers / Pelicans if they've gotten the number 2 pick out of Ingram, if they've gotten the number 2 pick out of RJ Barrett, if they got the number 1 pick out of Zion or Chet. Like, how many? I feel like it's almost like the one and done thing is kind of killing us now. Like, before, like, we would either see a high school guy be like this, but now it's like we're treating these guys like high school guys. I don't know if the one and done is working anymore for me. I know Wembanyama's not one and done, but
he's 18 years old. So, I mean, if theoretically he comes into his own and blossoms as a college senior at 22,
he's a grand slam.
If he's great by 22, this is a huge hit.
Right.
I mean, even if he's out of the league by 27, it's still a successful draft pick for the San Antonio Spurs for 5 years. It's the question is what is their plan? I think the first thing is he's got to get stronger. I mean, the guy's a 7'5" toothpick. He's got to get stronger, and they just got to build around him and figure it out. But you can't
morning drive.
You can't pass up on this guy and let him just dominate the league for a decade. You're better off as a GM
just taking him,
drafting this guy and it not panning out than to let this guy pass and you go get Brandon Miller and all of a sudden, he's got problems and Wembanyama's a 23-10 guy,
Colin Cowherd did this graphic yesterday and I noticed something on it. It was like players drafted since like 2017 or 2018 that had like averaged 15 points a game and also had 1 playoff series win. Of course, there was only like 17 players in like the last 5 or 6 years. This was like 3.5 players per draft. Did you know after Bam Adebayo and Jason Tatum, the third guy on that list is actually DeAndre Ayton in terms of playoff wins, like series wins? I was like, wow. Suns have won more than I thought they have.
Well, they won 1 series last year. They went to the finals a couple years ago. That's 3 series wins. So what was DeAndre Ayton, like 5 series?
Like 7 or 8. I was like, wow, 7?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is.
I was surprised, but yeah. Is Chris Paul going to get a ring? No. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of what the Wizards are doing, by the way. Like, full disclosure, dumping off Bradley Beal's contract when he's never going to do anything for you, obviously, because they've tried this thing for years. It's just selling tickets at this point. So I'm glad they got off of him. They got a bunch of seconds. They got Landry Shamet. They got Tyus Jones now from the Grizzlies. I love what Wizards are doing, but Chris Paul to the Warriors, LOL.
Wow, it's amazing how far you've fallen on Chris Paul.
He's old.
I think, yeah, he is absolutely old. I think this is a perfect setup for him, though. He's going to come in and be the backup point guard. He's going to play 2 minutes. Number 2 minutes, not 2 minutes. He's going to play number 2 minutes. He's not relied on. He doesn't need to facilitate an offense. I don't think the Warriors will win the title, but it's not because of this trade. I think if they let Draymond walk, which I know he declined his option, but if they let Draymond walk, I think they become a significantly worse team.
I think Draymond did that so he can take less money.
That would be cool.
I think they could like trade or sign somebody now.
I'm curious if Draymond did that to go to the Lakers and hang out with his boyfriend.
I don't know if that. I think he's married to the Warriors, and then he's having his side piece is LeBron. That sounded weird.
But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? Are you doing Porzingis to the Celtics? Like, is that even a thing to you, or is it like, cool, great job, guys?
No, I was definitely off on this, but like last year, like he stayed healthy, he played 66 games, 23-8. I mean, if he can stay healthy, 23-8, that's a beautiful trade for them. I mean, Marcus Smart was wearing out his welcome in Boston, even though I know he'd been there for almost 8 years. I think it was a great deal to not have to trade Malcolm Brogdon.
No, I agree.
And get rid of Marcus Smart. So, yeah, I mean, if he stays healthy, this and 23, if you can get 23-8, or even if you can get 18-8 out of this guy, staying healthy, 60 games plus.
He's good defensively. People are underrated. I'm like, why are you only talking about his defense right now? He's a shot blocker.
I think it could absolutely be a great trade for them. It's just it's all about him staying healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, then this trade was a wash. Like, and the thing is, they were able to get Porzingis, who, I mean, maybe Tyus Jones has an argument.
They didn't give up anything.
But they got Kristaps Porzingis, the best player in the deal. I'll say that.
Right.
And they got 2 first-round picks.
You saw that graphic. I was like, how'd they do that? That was the best 3-team trade for one team of all time.
Oh, and like I said, Marcus Smart will step in, and I think he'll be good for the Grizzlies. I think he'll be a better version of Brooks. What's his name? Dylan Brooks.
Right.
So Memphis, I don't hate that decision. And like you said, Tyus Jones, really good backup point guard who stepped in really nicely for Ja. I like that. I mean, like you said, I know you like what Washington's doing, but it's like they're a bad team that's like, okay, we're going to rebuild. It's like, well, what have you been doing?
We've been building the house, and now we got to knock it down again.
You're hitting the reset button again. And like I said, getting rid of Bradley Beal and $60 million, that's fine. Because he's now a $60 million role player.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the one to take a back seat in Phoenix.
Washington shouldn't feel great with what's happened. I mean, let's not act like they're like, a contender suddenly. They're just resetting their rebuild that they've been doing for how long's John Wall been gone? For 4 or 5 years?
You remember the graphic Sammy sent us with like John Wall, Westbrook, and Chris Paul?
They're just mirroring each other.
All the players, all the teams. One last thing I'll say is that the Celtics, like with Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, I don't know, Grant Williams, and then Porzingis, or even Robert Williams, if he can stay healthy, and Porzingis runs the 4.
And then you got Horford coming off the bench for whatever he's got left.
Yeah, I'm sure he's more than Kevin Love.
He's still surprisingly a good player for his age.
Yeah. Good Hawk. Good Hawk.
Yeah. But I like Chris Paul to the Warriors. I think like I said, I don't know about the West. It could be wide open again minus Denver. But I will say that Celtics trade, they have to be the overwhelming favorite if he stays healthy to get to the final.
Or you put an AD thing, and if he's healthy, it ruins the betters. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying in the East, I think they got to be the overwhelming favorite.
Be nice to the Heat. Be nice to them. I'm kidding.
Well,
We didn't get any better.
Chris Middleton declined an option too, so I mean that makes the Bucks worse if they don't bring him back. Which, I mean, 32, 33 years old, coming off a knee injury, they may not bring him back. I don't know.
What if the Celtics get Lillard? I'm just swinging it out there.
Jaylen Brown will be gone.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure they'll be fine with that.
It'd be pretty damn dangerous. If he wants to go to a contender, that would be the one.
Agreed. We'll be right back, guys. What?
I was gonna say, and they'll get 2 first round, and Boston will get 2 first round picks for him too.
I've heard Miami's the number 1 favorite for him. Who cares? We'll be right back. Tell the wonderful people about the F.
It's very simple. If you want to get the best in sports merchandise, memorabilia, and apparel, there is a button like this on a site like this called MikeandAaronDrive.com. You click that button, and it takes you into the site where you can shop till you drop to your heart's content, add to cart times a million, and get it all sent right to your door. Please visit MikeandAaronDrive.com and click the F, the Fanatics logo. It doesn't cost you anything. It's 2 seconds extra. And it helps out our channel tremendously, and we appreciate it very much so. So make sure you visit MikeandAaronDrive.com, click the F, and get all your Fanatics gear from there today.
Great word, great letter. Love it. Tyreek Hill. Oh, Lord, this is bad. So, it's funny. I texted this to you. It's funny that John Morant, because of PR, waves a gun. I mean, to be fair to those rednecks, it is legal. I understand that. Bruce Waves going on Instagram Live, and he gets 25 games. Tyreek Hill slaps the dude, which is literally like you can get arrested for that. It's like for a night or whatever. And he's probably, I don't know if he's going to get anything, Aaron. I mean, what are we doing with this Tyreek Hill thing? How are we feeling? Good thing he's retiring in 2 years if you're Miami.
So, I think you're jumping the gun a little bit here with.
Oh, be nice now.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to say that, but that was good. I think you're jumping the gun a little bit here with regard to Tyreek Hill. He's obviously, it's still an allegation. There's still an investigation underway. Does it shock me that he did this? No. I mean, he's definitely not one of the humble variety. Going back to the Ja Morant situation, this was a culmination / straw that broke the camel's back of incidents. This is the same, feels like the same thing as Pac-Man Jones. I don't know if you remember him.
He does good for the Pat McAfee show, but yeah, you're right.
When you're accused of or found, in situations 12 different times, it's like where there's smoke, there's probably fire. And as a business who invests millions of dollars into you, they're going to sit you down, no pun intended, and kind of, smack some sense into you with a 25 games.
That's right.
Going back to the Tyreek Hill thing.
That's right.
So this situation, I think if there's actually evidence that he did this, I do think he'll get a couple games. He probably like 2 games suspension. Allegations, investigation, this all may take a year. Who knows how long it's going to take? I mean, is he going to be playing under allegations? Sure, probably. But a situation, with this, we don't know any of the facts. All we know is that there was an incident at a marina. I mean, we don't know really anything here at this point. So to jump to any conclusion that he is or isn't going to get something it's a bit premature right now. So, I mean, do I believe that he should get suspended if found guilty? Absolutely. He does have a history, just like we're talking about with Ja Morant, of domestic violence or physical violence. And, albeit it's almost 10 years ago, but, sometimes zebras don't change their stripes at this point. And, what more can you say? Like, there's really just not a lot of information out right now. So we withhold judgment until he's found guilty. And if he's found guilty, then yes, I believe he deserves to be punished. I don't know what that number is at this point because I don't think there's a ton of really precedent here as far as beating up average Joes.
That's what I was watching a comedy skit by Bill Burr. I'm sure you've heard of him. He is hysterical, and he was like, if you hit a woman, it's like a cop's knee is in like your back or whatever. If she hits you, like she's like going like rubbing in like a UFC fighter. If a guy slaps a guy, like who cares? He's like, why can't a girl just give a girl a blow one time?
Well, and the thing is like, if Tyreek Hill was not Tyreek Hill, this wouldn't be a thing. Like a guy
be a burger of nothingness.
Most of us aren't taking another guy to court because you got punched or slapped. I assume it's a slap. I don't know. That's what everything I read says it's a slap. Most guys are just going back after you, and there's a tussle, and you walk away from it all. But he's Tyreek Hill. He makes $20-something million a year. Same with the Devontae Adams situation, where he pushed over the cameraman after the game that one day.
That was bad. And then like 6 months later, you sued him.
I mean, if that guy was a college football player with no income,
Wow.
you're not, it's the deep pockets, baby. You got to remember who you are, at times, and you're going to get. And like I said, maybe this guy provoked him. We don't know any information, but provoked or not, you are not Antonio Brown, man. Get a good head on your shoulders. These guys won't.
I will forgive him if he said, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth," and then slapped him.
Is Tyreek Hill married? I know he's got a kid and a girlfriend. I didn't know if he's married or not.
I think he's. Wasn't mad at Aaron. No kidding. No, I think he's his girlfriend.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. You can't say keep my wife's name out of your mouth if you don't have a wife. So.
Keep my side piece's name out your mouth.
You're making it worse.
There's a AP Bizzle out for Kareem Hunt and DeAndre Hopkins contracts. I don't find them. Jason McIntyre had a good point on DeAndre Hopkins' side of things. He was like, this news reporter said, "Oh, by the way, Hopkins has 2 offers," and McIntyre was like, "Is that a good thing?" The Titans and the Patriots. Wow, what a contender! It's so bad.
And what are those offers? Because he hasn't signed them. He hasn't just reached up and said, "Done."
Yeah.
And
Kareem Hunt, this he could be with the Browns. Zeke could be with the Cowboys. It's all a bunch of, can you like cheese with that nothing burger? No, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to set the market. I don't know what these offers are for Tennessee or for New England, but it's like, I hate to throw shade on this guy, but for wide receivers of that age and that at least believed skill set left, did Odell Beckham ruin this for DeAndre Hopkins? Like, Odell Beckham got $15 million guaranteed, no incentive, boom, $15 million, and DeAndre's like, well, I should get that, and everybody else is looking around like, the Ravens are stupid. We're not giving you that money,
It's almost like, I don't want to use the Deshaun Watson thing as an example, but it's like, this guy got that much. Yeah, but that's not the precedent, you idiots.
Well, yeah, it's just because one team does something stupid doesn't mean all teams. I mean, how many times did we say that with the Lamar Jackson contract? They went ahead and did it anyways.
Good, that's a good point. And you know what? Let's play a game. Well, not a game, but which of these guys do you think you can sign first? Zeke, Kareem Hunt, Hopkins?
Hopkins.
I think it's Hunt.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Dalvin Cook's off the mark is gone too now.
I just feel like Kareem Hunt is a week 3, week 4 signing for somebody who loses their running back.
I think he's 27 too. That's not good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's got 2 more years left in him at peak. He's
and
not
Hopkins
getting.
Is 30 and with wide receiver.
It's gone. It's just not happening. I'm going to make a bold statement here.
Oh, cancel me.
I don't think Zeke plays football anymore.
Yeah, there's been reports that most teams don't think he has anything left. So that was a pretty bad report. Dang it. I used to like that guy. But that little Cowboys 2-year run was fantastic.
The 2-year run. That's the thing with running back. It's like, oh yeah, man, he had a good 2-year run.
That's what I'm scared about Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, and I'll leave it here because this dude's 24. He's an old 24.
Well, think about that's how impressive Dalvin Cook's run is. Over the last 4 years, he has 5,200 rushing yards, 1,400 receiving yards, and 47 touchdowns.
Adrian Peterson might have CTE by that logic.
And they can't find a job.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure they could find a job.
Looking for Alexander Madison, dude. That's bad.
Just the way the world works now. These running backs are, back in the day in the 90s, early 2000s, the running backs were the paid product. Now they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so concerned about Bijan Robinson going first in fantasy drafts. Okay, for 1 year, wow. Falcons are going to run heavy. They're going to run into the dirt. And then I don't know what they're going to do with him. Look at Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was not even a mean runner. And he still fell off. He was always hurt, but whatever.
They just, you gotta use them while you got them and let somebody else pay the price for them. I don't think Zeke plays anymore. I think Kareem Hunt signed somewhere in the middle of the season. He might even go back to Cleveland. And then I think somebody gets the deal done with DeAndre Hopkins. The thing is people have already made their roster, so to speak. They've already, this DeAndre Hopkins release was a little bit late, but if he's expecting $15-16 million, I just don't know where teams are going to get it. Now, if he wants to play for like a 2-year deal where he can get, 20 over 2, $10 million a year, I think he's absolutely going to get that, something along those lines. So we'll see what happens here with what he wants and what he thinks he's worth versus what the teams think he's worth. So we'll see what happens.
And also, Adam Schefter reported that Trey Lance is the third-string quarterback in San Francisco, and there's no trade market for him. And that broke my heart.
He's the third-string quarterback behind a bust in Sam Darnold and a guy in Brock Purdy who is coming off of what basically is Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, and we thought Darnold played pretty good for Carolina, to be fair, though, before he got hurt.
Sure, I'm saying overall he's a bust. He's on his third team. He's the second or third overall pick. Did
you have in your bingo cards last season that Sam Darnold would be a 49er and would have the job over Purdy and Lance?
He had by default because Purdy is not coming. I don't think Purdy's coming back like the first 6 weeks of the year.
And the fact that the 49ers even saw Darnold and picked him up is just genius by them.
Maybe they realize that a guy like that is similar to Brock Purdy that can really just. I mean, this is no disrespect to Trey Lance, but all we saw in preseasons was Trey Lance's all the highlight reels. He couldn't get the basic stuff done.
I saw like 2 deep passes, and that was it on the highlight reels.
Yeah, and you were in love.
Well, and to be fair, because that's all North Dakota State did too. So you're right. They ran a bunch of streaks with Christian Watson, and look, Christian Watson looks like the next best thing now.
Yeah, but I mean, not to get off a tangent, I think he's poised. If Jordan Love can be a half as good as Aaron Rodgers, Christian Watson is poised to really break out this year. But no, I've never. I mean, not the whole "I told you so" thing, but like nothing about Trey Lance has ever shown me that he's capable right now. Same with Carson Wentz. I mean, can we argue Carson Wentz? At least Carson Wentz had an MVP season
for half a year. Yes, I agree. No, you're right. You're right. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah, it was like 12 weeks, and then he got hurt. But yeah, it's just it's not as shocking to me that he's third string behind an injured guy and a Sam Darnold as maybe you.
Oh, we'll be right back. We've got a fantasy draft because it's Fantasy Draft Friday. Don't go anywhere.
All right, welcome back here to this Fantasy Draft Friday edition of the AM Drive. We are presented by Agridime. You see it right there in the corner. If you or someone you know or love is ready for grilling season, then you've got to hook yourself or them up with some of the best quality meats shipped directly to your door with our friends over at Agridime. Shout out. Someone made a purchase on Agridime just recently, so shout out to you if you're watching. Much obliged, much appreciated. Helps out the channel tremendously. But if you are also looking to get the best grilling meats this season, head over to mikeandaarondrive.com. Click the logo that looks like this, Agridime. Shop, get all the meats, all the spices, all the everything you can think of. Use code AMDrive for 10% off your order and start grilling today. It may not be hot here in Vegas, but the weather's heating up wherever you live. You make sure you get your grilling supply stocked up for the summer.
And have a hamburger and hot dog cookout.
Yeah, have a bougie basic cookout. No, you go to Agridime, you're going to have that tomahawk ribeye cookout barbecue.
This guy, he knows how to eat. Me too, actually.
They had tomahawk ribeyes on sale the other day. I almost pulled the trigger on them.
Oh, John Morant, how dare you?
Oh, yeah, I keep making gun jokes. My bad.
Right. Bang, I'm kidding. Okay, Fantasy Draft Friday. Aaron, what is it?
All right, Fantasy Friday, in honor of Father's Day last weekend, we are going to be drafting our top 5 all-time TV dads. We did the same thing for Mother's Day. You got smoked. It is what it is. But you get a chance to redeem yourself here after all the poorest drafts you've put together. TV is this week's Fantasy Draft Friday. I think I had the number 1 pick last week, so you have the number 1 pick this week.
You're in trouble. You were in trouble. I'm going to
Yep.
take this one first because I know you're not going to take my number 1 pick. So let me do this one first. Well, Barney, what a good day we just had. Andy Griffith.
Griffith?
What? How is that bad?
You've never even seen the show.
Oh, I have. I love. That's why I used to be a Don Knotts fanboy, and when he died when I was like 10, my heart was broken. I even saw the Apple Dumpling Gang with Don Knotts.
Wow, what an old soul.
That dude's awesome.
You're right. If that's your first,
it's Andy Griffith. But no, you get it.
I like the Andy Griffith better than Matlock, but that's fair.
Whatever that is.
Oh man, you gotta watch Matlock, where he was a lawyer.
I like Columbo. If that helps, you go ahead.
All right, yeah, you're probably right. I wasn't taking your pick because I have to go with 90s kids and early 2000s kids, best dad ever. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, however you say the song. It's Danny Tanner from Full House. He's the number 1 in my book. He's the ultimate. Dude somehow was able to raise 3 girls as a single dad and live in San Francisco, one of the most expensive cities in the world. I don't know how. Yeah, it still is. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and he did it well. And he even shook off the gay vibe, living with his buddies Jesse and Uncle Joey.
I've never seen watching that show just because you said that. I'm kidding. Number 2 for me, Lois, come down here. Look at this. Oh my God, that's right, Peter Griffin. You Seth. Fun facts. Stop it. Stop laughing. Seth MacFarlane voices Peter and Brian and Stewie and Quagmire.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and they even had like this little song where like I'll have to tell you the song later. The song I sent you recently, like Quagmire and Peter. How does one man do that one voice and like make it sound so different? Great job by Seth MacFarlane.
He does a bunch of other like various characters too. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, but Peter Griffin.
All right, he was on my list, but
yes.
You
want Homer Simpson? I know.
No, Homer Simpson is not on my list. Number 2 here for me is going to be another one of my favorite. I mean, you'll find there's a trend here, but another one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, starring our boy who also kind of made an appearance in the show earlier today, Will Smith. That's Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil is all time. Will Smith making 2 appearances in the show today.
Let me shut up. That was a little bit too late. Philip Banks is his name, by the way. The father's name.
But always being known as Uncle Phil. So I want Uncle Phil.
Isn't it like that the show where like the guy that looks around the room like there's no one there?
Yeah, that's toward the end of the show when they move out and he's moving on with his life. He grows up.
Apparently they have an M-rated, like an TV mature rated version of that show now. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, I have no interest.
Me neither. Number 3 for me. Come here, Lamont. Come here. Lamont. We're going to do Red Fox, a.k.a. Fred G. Sanford from Sanford & Son. That's a great show. That's one of the most underrated shows of all time.
Do you even watch Sanford & Son?
I've watched it more than probably some black people have. That is a funny show.
It is a funny show. I didn't think you would. I didn't think you'd go down that route. You're actually holding your. Peter Griffin was a terrible pick, but I think you're holding.
All I do is watch Facebook highlights and reels of Peter Griffin. I'm sorry.
No, I think he was a good 5th pick, but 2nd pick no.
No, but Freddy's that Red Fox was that show is. I think it is lost in white show's history. Not to keep it racial here, but I'm telling you, that show is criminally underrated.
I'll give you that one. That's a good pick. My number 3 pick here. You're leaving a lot of mine on the board here, so I'm gonna go with. I don't know who to take with the 3rd pick because I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit more recent. One of maybe the best shows of all time. And if you haven't watched it, I really believe you should. It may or may not be up your alley, but Phil Dunphy, Modern Family.
That's one with no laugh track, right?
There is no laugh track, but
I can't stand that do. I can't do it.
What?
The little dun 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 I don't like the stupid music like in place for laugh track. It doesn't sound good to me.
No, I don't. I think you're talking about something completely different.
No, it's the style. It's that style.
But this is like a mockumentary show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Young Sheldon's good.
No,
laugh track.
I've watched a few episodes of that. It's pretty terrible.
Wow.
But The Big Bang Theory is incredible. So
Oh, yeah. All right, so I like that. You're taking the classic 90s 2K kids show. I dig it. Oh, by the way, there's a movie called Zoe 102 coming out on Max that I have no interest.
yeah, same.
I never even watched Zoe 101. Okay, this one, I wish there was a voice for this guy. There's really not because he played the same character in everything he ever did. I present to you Manny the Mammoth, but not him, Ray Romano from Everybody Loves Raymond. He plays the same guy in everything he's ever done.
That's fair. That's a good one.
That was a good show, though. Although his dad would have been a good one, too.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
That was a good one. For me, I'm going to go to another 90s, going down nostalgia lane here. Another one that hits close to home. I watched this show a lot. I watched it on rerun a lot. This is taking out. They've redone the show. I haven't watched a single episode of the redone version. But Roseanne, Dan Connor, number 4 pick for me. And I have a really tough time figuring out my number 5 pick here.
He did not make my list ultimately, but he was on like top 15 if we have one of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's maybe one of my favorite shows of all time, and it's a criminally underrated show.
It's a fair point. That's something you're talked about a lot. Number 5 for me, I'm going to use 2 honorable mentions here. One to Frank Costanza because he didn't make enough appearances in Seinfeld.
Stiller, nice.
Oh, he is funny.
Yes. Also, Jerry Stiller. Remember, he was the dad in King of Queens too.
Yeah, dude, those shows are wild.
Yes.
Number 2 is one of my guys. I'm not going to put it on the graphic, but still, is Michael Kyle from My Wife and Kids. But I don't feel like I watched that show enough.
Damon Wayans.
Yeah, he's funny, but the show wasn't as great as it could have been.
But he was, he's pretty funny.
He's funny though.
Major Payne is still one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
I haven't seen that. I'm gonna go with this show is probably one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, and no one even talks about it. Martin Crane, aka John Mahoney, on Frasier. You ever seen Frasier?
I have.
It came from that one show, like I forgot what it's called, from Cheers. Yeah. So it's like some character off of that, like Frasier, his brother, who's like, it's just one of those gay funny guys on TV that's just hysterical, but he always dates all these women, like Barney or
Pierce. Yeah,
he's funny. And then but the father in that show is like, it's funny, but it's also like this sentimental thing at the same time. So that's why I had to pick it as number 5.
Wow, that was a stretch.
Oh, it probably was, but it's screw the people. They don't vote for me, so whatever.
So I have 4 remaining people on my list.
I would have gone with Ted Bundy or Red Foreman. Al Bundy, I know.
Go with Ted Bundy.
I know.
Red Foreman was one of them. Actually, I have 5 people on my list. Red Foreman. These are my honorable mentions because Al Bundy might be my pick. So.
Oh.
Honorable mention, Red Foreman. You're right. I don't know his name in real life from that 70s show.
Right.
Carl Winslow from Family Matters, another great show. Carl Winslow was the dad from Family Matters.
Is he the black guy on the Progressive commercial now?
Yes, he was also in Die Hard. He pretty much plays.
I finally got that joke when I was looking up TV. I was like, oh, TV dad, ha.
Yeah, Reginald Val Johnson. He's been milking the Die Hard and Family Matters thing for years, which it works. I don't know if you've heard of this show, but I think this is another criminally underrated show that doesn't get a lot of attention. Michael Bluth.
I came across that in some random website. I didn't know what it was, though.
Arrested Development. Fantastic show. And also his dad, which I can't now think. I think it's George Bluth. 2 great shows. Jeffrey Tambor and Jason Bateman. 2 great actors. It's a phenomenal show. If you've never seen Arrested Development, it's fantastic. So that leaves me to the 2 that I'm deciding on. You already guessed one. One is Al Bundy. But this is going to be a criminal to leave Al Bundy off this list as TV dad because he's probably one of the greatest, and I can't believe I'm leaving him off. So he's gonna be my official honorable mention just because I want to put this guy on. Now he might not be your quintessential TV dad because basically everything blew up in his face, no pun intended.
Oh no, don't do it.
My number 5 pick is Heisenberg himself, Walter White from Breaking Bad.
Thank God.
Who do you think I was going to pick?
I was going to do Bill Cosby's character on Cosby Show.
No, I didn't even Bill Cosby. I didn't watch the Cosby Show.
I didn't either, but I actually watched the Fat Albert cartoon.
Yeah, we watched Fat Albert, but it took me a long time to realize that was Bill Cosby doing that. And like, I knew the guy would, he would cut in and, Bill Cosby would cut in, and I didn't even think about it, but the fact that it was Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Jello.
Also, with strep throat a lot.
I feel criminal leaving Al Bundy off of my lists.
We'll put him on as a universal honorable mention, whatever.
Yeah.
Get to work.
That's going to do it here for us on this Friday edition of the AM Drive. Make sure you support the sponsors, Fanatics, Agridime, everything you see there. Support our shop as well. Buy yourself an awesome hoodie. I know it's hot right now, but it's going to get cold later on in the year. But until then, Monday. Are you going to do a show Monday?
Sure. Yeah,
right.
yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Mike will be back Monday for top 5 MLB, obviously some more sports talk. So until then, enjoy your sports weekend. And as always,
Drive safe.